Hello everyone, myself Jagriti Chavan and I am conducting the subject Remote Sensing and GIS. In the previous lecture, we have studied the definition of remote sensing and history of remote sensing. And in today's lecture, we are going to cover the components of remote sensing and electromagnetic spectrum. So first of all, we will see what is the component of remote sensing. Components are the objects or the subjects that comes under the process of remote sensing. The basic steps how the remote sensing is done, and in that whatever subjects are used is called as components of remote sensing. So firstly, whenever you have to use the remote sensing technique, at that time the basic point which we need is the energy source. Okay, so the first one is energy source. Here there are two types of energy sources which we can use in remote sensing. First one is the natural source and second is artificial source. The natural source which we are using in remote sensing is the sun. Sun is the natural source. It gives its own light to the object which reaches to the earth, and then the object captures the light and then it is again reflected, or whatever interactions takes place in the atmosphere, and the satellite or the sensors capture that particular image. So sun is the natural source of energy. Second one is the artificial source, that is the platforms that generates its own energy. So second one is the sensors of the platform. So when you are using natural source or sun as a source of energy, that type of remote sensing is called as passive remote sensing. And when you are using sensors or artificial source of energy, then that type of remote sensing is called as active remote sensing. Now, when the energy source releases its energy, then second one, it is interacted with the atmosphere. Interaction with atmosphere. So in the syllabus we have studied that there are different types of interactions. It may be radiation, reflection, refraction, scattering, emission, transmission. There are number of types of interactions which are occurred in the atmosphere. So in atmosphere there are mixture of gases or single gas molecules, or there are dust particles, there are water droplets. So with all these particles, with all these objects, when the radiation is interacted and it gets scattered, it changes its type or it changes its volume, then at that time interaction with atmosphere, this step takes place. Third one is interaction with the object. So after all the interaction with atmosphere, when the radiation reaches to the object, at that time some changes takes place. That is, when the light reaches to the black body, at that time everyone knows the laws in the physics, that when a black body absorbs the radiation or absorbs the light, it absorbs 100% of radiation. So nothing is reflected back. So likewise, different objects have different type of interaction with the light which reaches up to them. So the third one is interaction with the object. Fourth one is interaction with the atmosphere, but when that is interaction, when the radiation goes back. Radiation is back to the sensor. Once the radiation comes from the natural source, it is interacted with the object, and then when it go back to the sensor, at that time again some interaction takes place with the atmosphere. So when you are studying about these three types of interaction, it is nothing different. It consists of those all things, that is radiation, reflection, refraction, scattering, emission, and all these things. So these three type of interaction is same. Only what type of interaction takes place with atmosphere when the radiation is coming, with the object when it is interacting on the earth, and third one is the with atmosphere when the radiation goes back from earth to the sensor. Then the fifth one is processing. So processing takes place when the image is captured by the sensor and is sent to the processing unit, that is to the computers. Okay, so when the sensors capture the image, it's sent to the processing unit, and then on computer some type of processing is done in the software that we are going to see in GIS topic, GIS unit, that is Geographical Information System. So in that system we will see that what processing are done on each and every images, so that the users feel it comfortable to use the image for their study purpose or whatever it may be. And the sixth component are the users. That means we all. The users use the image in three formats. That may be in the form of maps or topo sheets. Second one, it may be in the form of digital format, that is saved in the CDs, saved in the pen drives, or it may be saved or available through internet. So in this three types, that is topo sheets and maps, second one is CDs, and fourth one is digital format, that is Google Map, or it may be available through Google Earth. We are directly capturing the unit, or we are putting the address, and then we can reach up to the address on computers itself. So these are the formats through which the users uses the data which are captured through the sensors or platforms. Okay, so these are the six components of remote sensing. First one is energy source, second is interaction with atmosphere, third is interaction with the object, fourth one is interaction with atmosphere when the radiations goes back to the sensor, fifth one is processing unit, and sixth one are the users. So when these types of components, if we have to put it in a form of diagram, at that time we can use such as, if this is a sun or it is a source of energy, it can be named it as first component. When the radiation goes to the earth, this is the earth. When the radiation goes from sun to the earth, passing through the atmosphere of the earth, this is the atmospheric layer. So passing through the atmospheric layers, some radiations are scattered, some goes back, that is reflected. So likewise different type of interactions appear. So this is the second component. When you have to capture the image, for example we are capturing the image of a forest area. So when these radiations reaches to the object and interaction takes place, this is the third component. After that, when this radiation goes back to the sensor, passing through this atmospheric layer again, at that time we are studying the fourth component. After that, when these sensors placed in a type of satellite or a platform, if these sensors captures the image and send it to a processing unit, if this is a computer, so when the image of the trees are captured by the sensors and they send it to the processing unit, you can see the image on your computer, and whatever you needed, and likewise you can do the changes in this software. This is the fifth component. And after that, we users use the images for our study purpose. So in a diagram format, this is the explanation of component of remote sensing. Okay. Now the next topic which we are going to conduct in this particular lecture is the electromagnetic spectrum. Well, if we are talking about spectrum, everyone has studied that when you pass a white light through a prism, where it gets converted into 7 different colors that we have named as Vibgyor. So the rainbow which we can see in the atmosphere, that is the type of visible rays. So when these rays, visible rays, then different X-rays, UV radiations, when these all rays are placed in a line which have a particular unit, that is called as electromagnetic spectrum, which we called it as EMR, electromagnetic spectrum, electromagnetic radiations, and here you can name it as spectrum. So these radiations, so now first component which we have studied is the sun or the light which comes out from the platform. When these radiations come out, it have different type of spectral lines, or it have to pass through different types of wavelengths. So what is meant by wavelength? Now everyone knows that, but let me explain that each light passes through a particular wave. So when you put a line over here, so the peak which you can see in upward side is called as the crest and the downward side is called as the trough. And the distance between two crests or the difference between two troughs is called as the wavelength. So according to this distance or according to this wavelength, different types of rays can be generated through any source of light. And accordingly, when you are studying about electromagnetic spectrum, for example, this is a line with unit micrometer. This is the unit micrometer, and you have a center with 0. Okay, this is a line, spectra line, which have the unit of micrometer, and if there is a 0 at the center, then keep in mind that always at the right side, these right side rays are useful to capture the images in remote sensing. Now we will see whatever rays are available in this right side. These rays are useful for capturing the images, and the rays which are to the left side are harmful rays available here. Okay, so now first we will see that from 0 to 0.3. 0 to 0.3 are your ultraviolet rays. UV rays from 0 to 0.3. Now everyone knows that when the UV rays directly reaches to the human being, then they are very much harmful. But some of the UV radiations are absorbed by the atmosphere, by the ozone layer in stratosphere, and then whatever are useful that reaches up to us, and we need the UV radiations to make our bones stronger, to get the vitamin D. So some of the UV radiations are harmful. So it lies from 0 to 0.3. After that, from 0.3 to 0.4. 0.3 to 0.4 the radiations are absorbed. Afterwards 0.4 to 0.7. 0.4 to 0.7. These are the rays by which we can see each and every object on the earth. That rays are called as visible rays. Visible rays. These rays are useful for us to see each and every object on the earth. This 0.4 to 0.7 is further classified as from 0.4 to 0.5, from 0.5 to 0.6, and from 0.6 to 0.7. So from 0.4 to 0.5 lies the blue color. From in Vidgar we can see different 7 shades of color. So among which 0.4 to 0.5 micrometer wavelength is of blue color. Then 0.5 to 0.6 is the wavelength of green color. Green color, and from 0.4 to 0.5 is the blue color. So blue, green, and last one from 0.6 to 0.7 is the color for red. So this is the BGR, that is blue, green and red wavelength of visible rays. Then later on from 0.7 to 0.14 are the infrared radiations. Infrared radiation. From 0.7 to 0.14 are the infrared radiations. These infrared radiations are again divided into, from 0.7 to 14. 0.7 to 14 micrometer are the infrared radiation, out of which from 0.7 lies the near infrared NIR. Then middle infrared, and last one is far infrared, or you can call it as thermal infrared. So from 0.7 to 0.13. From 0.7 to 0.13 is near infrared. Then from 0.13 to 3 is the middle infrared, and from 3 to 14 is thermal infrared. I can write it over here so that it is clearly visible. Near infrared is 0.7 to 0.13 micrometer. Then middle infrared is 0.13 to 3 micrometer, and thermal infrared is 3 to 14 micrometer. So these are the ranges of infrared radiations. Likewise, I will write about visible also. From 0.4 to 0.5 is the blue color. From 0.5 to 0.6 is the green color. And from 0.7 to 0.8 is the red color. These visible rays are very much important for aerial photography, which is done in the remote sensing. Then when you go in advanced remote sensing, at that time infrared radiations are also used to capture very minute objects or minute differences which are made in images. We will study later on. And then after 14 micrometer, further there are microwave radiations. Microwave radiations up to 30 centimeter. There is a huge range of microwave radiations from 14 micrometer to 30 centimeter. There are all microwave radiations, and then after 30 there are radio waves. In microwave radiations, you can use the scatterometer, you can use altimeter, you can use radiometer. For whatever reason you required in the remote sensing, you can use the microwave radiations, and after that the radio waves are used. And when you are studying about the left side of zero, there are different, that is cosmic rays, X-rays, gamma rays. These harmful rays are available to this side of zero, but we are not studying this side. We need the rays which are useful to capture the energy, to capture the object clearly from the remote areas, that is the area till where we can't reach and we have to sit on a place and we have to study a particular area. So these types of rays are easily available. So before, in the history, the visible rays was very much useful, so that from aerial, that is from helicopters, from aeroplanes, the images can be captured very easily. But when the distance matters, when the satellites are placed from far away from the Earth's surface, at that time, to distinguish the different types of objects, to distinguish the houses which are placed nearby, which have very minute distance between them, then the differentiation was done in the advanced technology where infrared radiations was used. And when the spectral bands were started and when more technologies were introduced, then microwave radiations was used in the remote sensing technique. So likewise, today we have studied the components of remote sensing, and second one, electromagnetic spectrum. So in components of remote sensing there are 6 components, and in electromagnetic radiations there are different radiations which we are using to capture the images. So everyone have to complete the assignment which is shown in further. The questions are given in that particular slide. Everyone solve the questions and please submit it as early as possible. Thank you.